Hey, welcome to this series on Python. It's been a while since I've made a video on this, and yeah, I thought I might as well make another video. This one's gonna be short. It's about global keywords, and right now I'm drinking this beer from Alchemist Brewery. It's it's a pretty awesome brewery in Vermont, so if you can buy its beer or check it out, go ahead. All right, so I'm going to talk about global keywords, which is basically how can a function access the global workspace variables and all that jazz in Python. All right, so let's just dive in. So I define this variable with a value 5. Now this variable, since it's defined outside any function or class or anything, it should be accessible by anything. All right, by anything I mean any function or whatnot. So let's define a function, test, and its job is to just print a. Okay, so we want to test if this function can access this variable which is defined on a global scope. By global scope, I mean outside itself. So in the entire program workspace. So let me call test and let's run this. Awesome. So here we can see that it is able to access this variable. Great. Now let's try something different. Let's try to, excuse me, beer burps. Let's try to increment the value of a by 5 and let's print this out. Okay, so what I'm doing is I'm incrementing the value of a by 5 and I'm going to print this out. Let's play this or let's run this and I get local variable a reference before assignment. Okay, so we got an error. Now let me decompose or deconstruct what this error means. So any function can access variables that are defined on the global workspace. So by global workspace, I mean things that are outside this function, but it isn't able to modify them. So what happens is, so here I am defining a variable a equals a plus 5. So when I define, so note, remember, it's not able to modify it. So when I define a equals to, that's a definition. What Python does is it creates a local variable. Okay, so it creates a local variable within test with the same name. So there's a global A and there's a local A. Now it defines A equals A plus 5. Now, since A is undefined in this local scope of test, we get this local variable A reference before assignment error. Okay, so as an example, let me show you this. So let me try this value of A and then A. Okay, so same thing. So here what I'm doing is change this. So in this function test, I define an a equals 10, and then I print that out. And then outside the function, I call a again. So naively, you would think that once this function runs, I get value of a to be 10. And then once this function run, I get value of a to be 10. But that is not what's going to happen. What's going to happen is that because a is 5, and I said these functions cannot change global variables. So what's going to happen is a new A is created with a local scope, and its scope lives inside test itself. And then once test is done, I get the value of the global A printed out. So let's run that. And here you can see, so first I call the local A variable A, value of A is 10. And then now, once that is done, I get the value of A to be 5 because now I'm outside the scope. This local A has been destroyed. And then I just print out the global one. So, okay. So now that you understand how functions modify these global variable scopes, what if I want to actually modify the value of A? So to do that, you use a global keyword, so which is just global. Mm, this beer is pretty damn good. I love IPAs. Okay, so I define a global variable with the global keyword, and I define that my A that I will be using is the global one. So first I define the fact that the A that I would be using is the global one, and then I set it. So now what's happening is I am not creating a local copy or a local variable A, but I'm just using the one that was globally present. So let us now test this out. Great, we get the same values because once this function is called, I use the global A and I set it to be 10. Since I've set the global A to be 10, the line number 9 prints out the value of global A, which is 10. So in short, this is how global variables are used. You don't see these too often because people don't like changing global variables because they kind of signify what's outside the realm of the function and whatnot. So people, you don't see global typically used, but it's a good idea to know how global works and work with it if you really have to. And again, you can always read more about this in the documentation on MATLAB. Um, there are fancy things that you can do, like an interesting example. If you have nested functions, and then if you define global in a nested function, you still change the global workspace variables. So again, but you won't see these used too often. So I think I'm gonna end this video here. I just want to give you an update on my channel is I'm going to create a new series on quantum computation. And since I'm a physicist, watch out for that. So again, see you next time. And again, like and subscribe my videos if you like them, of course. All right.